hello, and welcome to the Holly Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Kieran Brennan. With me, as always, my co-host.
The man that United forgot, Rian and Kieran. I think we found a way to get the intros just right. We get you to do one, we don't use it, and we get you to do another one. And it's smooth. That was beautiful.
Yay! I'm great. I'm the best. I'm doing better than ever, Rain. How are you doing? I've been going on loads of walks and listening to audio plays during them, and it's just nice and relaxing, isn't it? It's just lovely. How are you doing?
I'm really glad you brought up walk, because something I was going to bring up was I've been finding ways to like pass the time, and a friend of mine, Kev recommended this 5K run app, and I was like, okay, I've tried running before, and I've just like pussied out after one, but it's a zombie run 5K. You run 5K, but it's in a story that you've been dropped into a zombie apocalypse.
I see. How does that work?
So basically, I've done one, and I'm going to try and do 3 a week. There's 3 workouts a week. The story began, I arrived at Able Township. So many mysteries. Maybe I'll get a chance to solve them, but first I need to get fit enough to be an able runner. So basically, there's zombies killing everyone, and I'm being like told to go play. Basically, I'm just running around where like I pick somewhere to run, but they kind of fitted in with the story. The first one was like your tester. So most of it was just this guy getting really upset that one of the runners or whatever we are. We're not. I don't know if we're zombie hunters, but one of them died and he had a crush on her. So he was just whining for the whole thing, which is weird. I was listening to music, but I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. I'll keep us updated on this zombie apocalypse story, and if I die, the next one is tomorrow I start my 5K training with the doctor. I'll be mostly walking around Able, so that's probably the place, with some 15-second jogging sprints, 35 minutes. Looking forward to it. So yeah, if I break my ankles, you'll be the first to know. But yeah, it's with those kind of things, Kieran. I don't know if you're the same, but like they come hand in hand. But I'm doing this a lot more for my mental health than my physical health. Like the physical health will come with it, but like, and they come hand in hand, so it's hard to separate them. But if I was to like put one over the other, I'd be like, yeah, I need to get out in fresh air. I've been walking Buster up to like the top of like a hill in a park near my house just to get fresh air, because it's actually it's cold, but it's getting to that stage where it's getting into spring and it's getting a bit fresh. So it's not like it's really cold, but it's like it's nice to get out because the house is usually roasting.
Yeah, it's always nice to get out, and it's an important thing to do, especially when you can't see anyone, so you have to make the effort to just go out on your own. Yeah, I don't know. I love big long walks. Anyway.
Yeah, I've been doing a big US Office binge watch, as we discussed last week. I'm like on season 8 now, and I'm really disappointed it's coming to an end because I'm really loving it.
Shit in season 8, so don't worry about it. You'll be happy when it's over.
Oh yeah, it's around the time where like Michael leaves,
yeah.
But
I've never finished the show because of it, and I've tried to watch it twice.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish it because I really felt sorry for Toby. Was one of my things. I like felt sorry that like Michael hates him, and it's really funny. Like the movie that he makes, one of his last episodes, the movie, the Midnight movie with
Threat Level Midnight
with Michael Scarn, and Toby just gets his head shot off.
Hey man, if I was in a room with Hitler, Osama bin Laden, and Toby, and I had 2 bullets, I'd shoot Toby twice.
Didn't he say that? And
yeah.
He said, yeah, the line. And but then I went on Cameo, and Toby was €400, so he deserves to.
All the Office guys are massive on there. To be fair, it's a big show. You know, they're pricing it like that because they know we'll buy it.
And speaking of Cameo, we got our friend for his birthday a James Ellsworth cameo, and we got him Kieran.
James Ellsworth pedo?
Cameo.
Yeah, but isn't.
Yeah, I think he was in trouble, but this guy, our friend, hates James Ellsworth. So he took 20 minutes to respond. That man is definitely a drug abuser. Like he took 20 minutes to respond, and we got him to say that Christopher Nolan is a jackass while wearing a bandana.
Christopher Nolan is a jackass. I'll agree with that.
Yeah, because he hates Christopher Nolan, our friend, and then we got him to talk about pandas. But yeah, €15, James Ellsworth, poor guy. But yeah, that's been my week. Other than watching I watched a good bit of wrestling this week. But college is back tomorrow, which I'm happy about. I can't wait to get back into a routine.
Yeah, I've had that for 2 weeks, and I guess the routine's nice. I don't know. I also
Yeah.
like just sitting and watching movies, but hey.
It's a new module for me. Tomorrow I have news reporting, principles and practice, and news report. Then I've got the radio newsroom, digital media production, journalism studies, and ethics and regulation. So that's my
You know what
module.
I have to do for my media production module in my college? I have to make a podcast. Isn't that mad?
Do you have to make do you have to make a podcast that isn't one that you already have? Have you asked?
No, I made it already. It couldn't be one you did because it has to be like 3 to 5 minutes. So I made like a ghost themed one, and I made up a story about ghosts.
Well, you're good at that. Yeah, as OG fans of the podcast know, you do a really good Gatsby NXT thing. So trust that you did a good job on that. But yeah, another thing that I realized just before I went on air, Raw is so bad, and we'll get onto it. But you remember when we had a spin-off series that was like focused on Raw because wrestling was really dull? Could you, Jesus, could you imagine if we continue with that? We might not be here today.
What was that? I vaguely.
Raw notice board. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, no, because for a bit you had like loads of interviews, and we felt kind of bad that we weren't talking about modern wrestling. So we were the notice board. We just talked about weekly wrestling for some reason. That was weird.
Yeah, well, let's kick off the wrestling with a Raw story. Kieran, Drew McIntyre tested positive for COVID-19. It was
then like a fucking day later they announced that he's gonna be fighting the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, so basically, Drew McIntyre tested positive. Apparently, rumored to be 4 people tested positive, and it's no surprise because there's a lot of the QAnoners in the there's too much of they're not really united in their stance against COVID. There's a lot of people who don't COVID deniers, etc., etc. And when you have that, you're bound to get some cases because people are going to take liberty. So he is doing okay because he cut a promo on Raw. He just said Drew McIntyre tested positive and he's in quarantine. So if he's in quarantine for 3 weeks, Goldberg is going to have to carry the storyline. Not very good. McIntyre will be back for the go home show if he is well. So let's try and blend in Raw with the news because I don't want to talk about him full. McIntyre came on to Raw, and for the first time in 10 months since the pandemic began, COVID-19, the words COVID-19 were mentioned live on air as Drew McIntyre addressed them and said, "Stay safe, stay at home, wear your mask. I tested positive, but I'm going to beat Goldberg's ass at the Royal Rumble." So yeah,
only they could avoid it, I guess. But I don't know. I guess they avoided not mentioning that there was no fucking crowd. It's a weird situation.
Yeah, they just disappeared.
I hope he's okay.
Yeah, he seems like, he's a healthy boy. He'll be able to fight it no problem, and I hope he's back soon, and I hope he beats the crap out of Goldberg and moves on.
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't seem to matter if you're healthy because Nick Jackson came out this week and said that in September he had COVID.
Bad COVID.
Yeah, he said, quote, "Crazy to think there's still COVID deniers out there in the world. I had a pretty bad case of COVID in early September that kept me bedridden for nearly 3 weeks. I couldn't taste or smell for 2.5 months. At one point, my whole body had hives in it, and my doctor said that it was definitely from COVID," which is crazy. Like how different people. And then, fucking a little bit later, Chris Jericho comes out and says that he also had COVID in September and didn't even realize. It's so weird.
Yeah, and Kieran, that's weird because Jericho was doing concerts and like Nick Jackson stayed at home, but Jericho was actively doing shit. I know there was pre-taste for AEW, so thank God, but Jericho hasn't been the most COVID compliant. So to hear he tested positive, let's just hope. I mean, there was a lot of cases reported back to the to that super spreader that he was involved in. He didn't run it, but he was in the motorcycle rally or whatever it was. But let's just hope that that's a wake up call for them. I mean, they dealt with it a lot better than
have they? We didn't know that Jericho and Nick Jackson have it. They haven't been very open about this at all. Those are two of their biggest stars.
Nobody has been. Ring of Honor have been the best company about in dealing with this stuff. They do they're in their tapings right now. They do the bubble where they go to the hotel, they test them. EC3, do you remember EC3 was pulled off the Ring of Honor final battle card straight away when he tested positive? Yeah. So I think Ring of Honor have done a great job, but it just seems like I mean, around the time of the Royal Rumble, with this going on, Royal Rumble and Mania, this is going to be very, very finicky because Vince has his plans, and one thing can change like that. So like, I'm buzzing for the Royal Rumble, but like, how are they? They must have to Kieran. I wanted to get your opinion. They have to pre-tape one of these in somewhere else. They're not bringing 60. Don't know how they're getting 30 women for the Royal Rumble with the roster they have them on and having to bring in imports and isolating stuff. But like, sorry, but like they're going to have to pre-tape one of these in the CWC or somewhere else.
But even still, that's 30 people who are going to be in close contact. The Rumble isn't something where like it's just maybe they've done a couple of 6-man tags so far, but like fucking if entrant number one has COVID, there's a decent chance that every other single person is going to get it. Like that's insane. I hope they're really testing them now, especially after McIntyre. But also with fucking no, sorry, yeah, go on. Sorry, I think there's something else.
Oh no, yeah, so I just hope they do the Rumble as safe as they can. Another one, Raw then turned into an interesting one because Drew McIntyre was set to feature heavily. The Scottish Psychopath was scheduled to answer Goldberg's challenge. You know, Goldberg was a WCW alumni. Speaking of WCW, that main event fucking angle was very WCW. Triple H had to come out and Randy Orton challenged him because Randy Orton's gone through all the legends, blah blah blah. And they had a match where Triple H's hammer caught on fire, Kieran, and then he turned into Alexa Bliss, and they shot a fireball at Randy Orton's face. I mean, Kieran, I know for a fact that you have some bone in your body that liked this, but it was god awful.
Because I do love Triple H, and we'll talk about him a bit more and something else he did that I loved in a minute. But like, I almost tuned into this because I heard he was going to have a match, and then I was like, no, he's not. They're just going to cop out of it. And I feel good because it turns out they did. But like, this is weird. I like it. I think Alexa Bliss is on Raw twice tonight or tomorrow night. I don't know.
Yeah, she's having a match for the first time in 3 months tomorrow.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know. I dislike it, but it's not something. It's not as engaging as the rest of the stuff they've been doing. I just don't like the Triple H fake out. Don't tease me with fucking pop.
How did a sledgehammer catch on fire? Is what I want to know. Like the top of it, not even the wooden bit. We're going through all the Raw news. I don't want to talk about Ric Flair because it's disgusting. In so many ways, he shouldn't be there because of COVID, and now he's turned heel by shagging someone else that in front of his daughter. Yeah. Kofi Kingston has a broken jaw. That's a shock. Yeah.
Rough.
Yeah. WWE announces Kofi Kingston has a broken jaw because Xavier Woods went up against T-Bar, who was in the news. We'll get on to T-Bar in a minute. He was in a bit of AEW news. Yeah, Kofi is currently on the shelf with a broken jaw. And if that's anything to go by, he's going to be pretty tight for the Rumble if Finn Balor's injury is anything to go by, Kieran. We have to have Kofi in the Rumble. Even if he isn't, I'd say he'll help. If he isn't, he'd help Woods do like a Kofi spot. But yeah, broken jaw might rule Kofi at the Rumble.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate. It's kind of a long-running tradition. When was the last time he wasn't in one?
Oh, that must have been like all the saves are just some like a Kofi Kingston staple. I think the last time it has to have been 2007.
Yeah, I guess I can't remember him not being in any. I don't know. Maybe it'll give him like an extra year to think of something really creative. Because I don't know. Has he hit a standstill as far as the cool ones go? I feel like there hasn't been a great one in a while.
He did that thing last year where like one foot was like hovering in midair. But I always when that one happened last year, I was like, that happens to a lot of people when they get thrown out. Like their feet don't hit the ground. Like they could technically just hover their leg in the air.
Well, isn't that was it Michaels in one of the Rumbles? Like he had one foot on the ground or something?
Yeah, and he used it to propel himself back up. Yeah. So yeah. Hopefully Kofi's back. Like I really like Kofi. He's good at. He's just one of the best. One of the most underrated as well. But yeah. As I was talking about T-Bar accuses Sammy Guevara of stealing his finisher, and Guevara just like shot it right back in his face. So T-Bar and Sammy Guevara got into a Twitter spat. T-Bar wrote, "Some little teenage virgin on AEW stole my finisher like 4 years ago after we did a show together. I'd steal something but from his moveset, but it's all just Ricochet moves. We'll get on to Ricochet in a minute." and not in the best of light. While the Retribution member did not mention Guevara by name, the Spanish caller replied, "Someone tell Teabag the move actually belongs to Matt DeMorris, the guy he stole it from, and I'm just trying to get the move to be seen since you know he's never on TV. Also, while you're sitting doing nothing in catering on Monday, check out my newest vlog." Oh, T-Bar, you got served. But yeah, T-Bar's kind of trying to do this like Twitter thing. Mustafa Ali is the best at doing Twitter things because anytime someone opposes him, he just pulls up tweets of them asking for like tit pics on Twitter, and it's like this. He's like this. He's like you're a mark. He's like someone calls Ali shit. He's like I'm shit. This is you. It's brilliant. But T-Bar is not great.
Right now, doesn't he, Ali, or something? Because on like Raw Talk or whatever the fuck they call it, he said
the
like
Raw Legends thing.
Yeah,
so which is right. I mean, if I was WWE, I'd fucking use it. Like he's doing some good shit. Like he's trying to get in there and like get it. Like he's trying to make the best of a bad situation that WWE keep putting him in.
Can they be used? Apparently, talent are like annoyed because the piped-in crowd, supposedly, WWE are like making the noise louder for the people they do want to push, and then just making it a bit quieter for the people they don't. So talent are now frustrated that they can't get anywhere without actual crowds in attendance because whoever is over or not is being deemed purely by WWE themselves, which is weird.
Yeah, I don't like.
Really fucking frustrating.
Yeah, you can definitely see the difference between AEW and WWE. With the actual crowd in AEW has made a hell of a difference. For what it was, WWE are definitely going to have to try and we'll get on to the Mania news because that's going to be our main bit. But they're definitely. I don't know what the local Tampa laws are, but they're going to have people in the stadium.
Well, apparently, let me just read this for a second. The promotion is planning to have crowds for both nights of WrestleMania, though the quantity of fans are not currently known. WWE stated in their press release, quote, "In coordination with the local partners and government officials, WWE will announce ticket availability and safety protocols for WrestleMania 37 in the coming weeks. Information on additional WrestleMania week events is forthcoming."
They will sell out in 10 seconds because they're going to be limited.
Don't go, please.
Yeah, don't. But
yes, we're getting crowds.
Yeah, we'll get on to their bumper announcement in a minute. But a few more things. Impact Wrestling reveals a new commentary team. Josh Matthews is off commentary. The worst person in the world.
That is hard.
Oh, he's terrible. Matt Striker and D'Lo Brown are on commentary. Josh Matthews has been moved up to senior producer. So those poor wrestlers. Imagine going in and trying to book your match and Josh Matthews is telling you what to do. It's sad. But yeah, they had a good showing on Hard to Kill last night. Kieran, have you seen the Ricochet stuff?
I think of him leaving, and then he said no. Now it's rumored he might be staying till 2024. Is that it?
That is it, but it's something else, Kieran. Casey Catanzaro, it was her birthday, and they had a pretty big party in their house. And there was like Apollo Crews was there, Moose was there, and like Casey Catanzaro, like they got really like I think Marty Scurll was at one of their parties a few weeks ago, which is bad as well. He lives in the Florida area. But like someone got angry at Casey and she came back on Twitter and was like, "There's nothing wrong with it." Like, so like, I mean, I'm not expecting wrestlers to be. You don't really expect anything from anyone anymore. But like,
the head a lot. So
yeah, Ricochet's not smartest, and it's not surprising. I mean, he probably lands on his head. He probably lands on his head if you don't. But it's sad to see people just ignoring them and like seeing him on TV and then no wonder Drew McIntyre tested positive if shit like that's happening. But yeah, all of this stuff is just like kind of ice matches added for next week. So we'll get on to that when it's SmackDown.
Event announced if you want to know.
What?
There was a big-ish event announced. Bigger than the Raw, I guess. Super spectacle.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Super spectacle.
Yeah. The Indian-centered show is going to air exclusively on Sony 10.1, Sony 10.3, and Sony Max on January 26th, which is India's Republic Day. It's going to have a load of at least 10 like WWE talent associated with India are going to be on the show. I haven't heard of a lot of these guys, so I don't want to pronounce names. but the ones we know are Jinder Mahal and the Bollywood boys.
Andrew, I think.
Well, yeah, they've announced a load of actual talent on it. Not actual talent. I'm sorry, but a load of people that we know on there: Drew McIntyre, Charlotte Flair, Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles, Bayley, New Day, Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, the Dirty Dogs, and Ricochet. Ric Flair is also going to be there. I don't know. This seems like a weird show, but I'm up.
Ric Flair sounds like he should manage the Dirty Dogs.
He is a
But
dirty
yeah,
dog.
before we get on to the big announcements, and then we'll get on to a bit of wrestling reviews, Alex Shelley had to pull out of Impact Hard to Kill. He was meant to team with his Motor City Machine Gun stablemate Chris Sabin and Impact World Champion Rich Swann to take on the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega. But he had to pull out because he's unable to travel due to unavoidable circumstances and replaced in Saturday's match by Moose. He said, I assure everyone out there I don't have COVID. I am not orthopedically injured, but in the interest of safety, my situation is a very complex one. I put that first, as does Impact Management, and they're going to do their utmost precautions to make sure nobody is at risk at Hard to Killer going forward. I'm going to put two and two together because I know Alex Shelley is not a full-time wrestler anymore. His day job is as a nurse, and what I would assume is he did a shift and he is in close contact with people who are ill, and it would be unadvisable for him to travel to a show after working in a hospital. So fair play. So Impact, that's safe. Makes sense. So really, you shouldn't be told well done for that. That's a no-brainer. But yeah, Elimination Chamber moving to 21st of February, and WWE are trying to get Fastlane in as the last pay-per-view before Mania. What do you think, Kieran? Trying to
I mean, I like the Roadblock and Fastlane as like Mania before ones because the road to WrestleMania. It's just something I like, but I also like Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Feel free. I don't mind. They pushed back Mania, didn't they? Oh, well, we're going to talk about
it. And the last thing I have is Matt Cardona, also formerly known as Zack Ryder, debuted at Impact Hard to Kill. Yeah, he beat Joe Doran. He beat, what's his name? Used to be in the Wyatt family, Madman Fulton. That's him. Yeah, so fair play to that. He's gone between AEW and Impact, and he's a free agent, and people want to sign him and get a lot of money. So fair play to him. Now, big news, Kieran. Before we get on to Mania, Xavier Woods interrupted a quite funny broadcast of Stephanie McMahon and Triple H doing their whole shtick to announce King of the Ring is coming back. And
how do you see this? What?
Xavier Woods announced he was cut them off. His name was something funny. And he said, King of the Ring is coming back. And Kieran, it's a pay-per-view. King of the Ring pay-per-view is back. And
yay!
Xavier Woods said he doesn't know if it's going to be the entire tournament on one night or if the finals are going to be at the King of the Ring tournament. But I would hope that the tournament is all on one night. And I really hope Xavier wins it.
WWE are so fucking good at tournaments sometimes. Like between Mae Young Classic, the Dusty Tag Classic, fucking Cruiserweight Classic, United Kingdom tournaments or whatever. They're so fucking good. I'm really looking forward to it.
We'll get on to him later, but someone I want to win it is either Austin Creed or Xavier Woods or Cesaro.
Yes.
Because Cesaro did good shit this week and I cannot wait to talk about it. But anyway, Kieran, you're the big Mania mark. I love the Rumble. I like Mania too, but I'm going to let you take the lead on this. 3 new Mania dates now.
Yes, in a really fucking weird, and I think I loved it, but I know I shouldn't.
Oh, you loved it. Oh, you got that. That was so you.
Yeah, where Triple H is wearing a shitty wig and John Cena has a terrible "you can't see me" joke. I like it's. Oh, I don't even know how to describe it. Watch it. It's so weird. It's like a weird newscast, where they're all Sasha Banks, John Cena, Triple H, and Stephanie are different news presenters. John Cena's name is Hugh Can't See Me. Ha ha ha. Terrible, but I fucking loved it. They announced the next 3 WrestleManias. So this year's Mania 37, I think. Yeah, it's going to be a 2-night event again. It's being held in the Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. And it's taking place over April 10th and April 11th. So that's pushed back from, I think Mania was going to be the end of March, right? Pretty sure.
Yeah. It was start of April.
Yeah, it has the pirate logo again, but there's 2 swords in it this time. It's a better logo than last time, I think. WrestleMania 38, that's the big new logo this time, will be held at AT&T Stadium. which is in April 3rd, 2022. That's the one they did WrestleMania 32 in, right?
Yes, 32 was
Yeah.
Dallas. Yes.
And it has a big star.
Mm-hmm.
It looks fine. It's a fine logo. And then WrestleMania 39 is going to be in the SoFi Stadium in California, LA, 2023, April 2nd. And they're using the WrestleMania Goes Hollywood logo again that they were supposed to use this year, but I guess can't, which is
Yeah.
weird.
And then in that broadcast, they announced King of the Ring and they announced Mania. So yeah, we'll see which one of them has a full crowd or how the crowds develop. WWE are definitely going to try and pull a record attendance in the first Mania after COVID thing again, probably. But yeah,
Right,
it's good.
everything here.
Yeah, they do it every year, don't they? But yeah, that's. I mean, venues announced. Hopefully, that's fans. Everyone watches the Mania. Everyone watches the Rumble. I'm really looking forward to the Rumble. The Rumble's kind of like that thing where, like, I think the Rumble more so than Mania. Non-wrestling fans watch it and know what it is. Like, people do like watch-alongs in pubs and stuff. Because everyone, like, if you're playing around as a child with like your brother or your whatever, and you're like on the sofa or on the bed, you usually say Royal Rumble. You usually like are like, oh, we're gonna do a Royal Rumble, and like that's what I remember it as, even though I didn't know wrestling. So like
I don't
there's
know.
two events that people from me and Kieran have experience in school of having the Hardy Boys return spoiled for us in school by someone who didn't watch wrestling. Mania and Rumble usually brings in the casual crowd. So
I think Rumble's very much like people who used to like wrestling but now just watch indie wrestling. That's when they get back on board, and then Mania is when everyone's back on. You know, I don't know. But I think my most anticipated match on the Royal Rumble this year is going to be Roman Reigns versus Adam Pearce.
did you watch SmackDown?
I didn't need to watch it there about that. What are they doing? Why is he there? Why'd they take Kevin Owens off?
Wait, wait, wait! You haven't watched SmackDown?
No, I haven't.
Okay, we're gonna get into SmackDown then, because
Yeah.
Kieran is. I actually I love the way you did that. If you did that deliberately, that's fantastic. Right, I'm gonna take Kieran through SmackDown because SmackDown was fantastic. I love SmackDown.
I heard you tweet about it, but I had a busy
A
Saturday.
lot of a lot of good shit happened. So after Shinsuke Nakamura's Iron Man performance in the Gauntlet last week,
Just
he
cool.
came out to his old team. Shinsuke Nakamura's got his team back. He's turned
Without
baby.
anything.
Yes, he's turned baby. He's turned baby face. Jey Uso came out and said, "We run this show." Uso said Shinsuke Nakamura should be thanking him for it and his family for letting him survive. Shinsuke came out to his old team. He called Uso the puppy to Roman Reigns' big dog, and then kicked him in the head, and they had a match. And Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro joined the commentary team. So Cesaro was still acting heely, but they're still in a tag team with Shinsuke Nakamura as a babyface. I like this. Really good. The match.
Go down for Nakamura versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
I feel like that was good.
Yeah, that could be Elimination Chamber at Fastlane, 100%. Nakamura set, or he could win the Rumble. He probably won't. But Nakamura set up for the Kinshasa, but Uso caught him with a super kick. Uso tried to get a roll up, but Charles Robinson, usually corrupt, counted the 3 count, but waved it off because Uso was using the ropes. Nakamura rolled over Uso and then hit him with the Kinshasa for the win. Nakamura defeats Jey Uso. Love to see it. What's her name? Okay. Heyman tried to get, so the whole night was Heyman trying to get Pierce to sign the contract. You need to watch all this, Kieran. It's fantastic. It's the YouTube clips do it really good. Heyman tried to get Pierce to sign a no DQ match, and Pierce was like, this is only from your benefit. It's not for me. Like, I'm gonna get hurt. And then he went, he signed it, and he was like, okay. Heyman went back to Roman Reigns, but Apollo Crews was sitting there with him, and halfway, you come in halfway through the conversation, and Roman Reigns telling Apollo Crews, you need to take it, you need to take the, like, basically grab the bull by the horns, like, there's no need to, I took what I wanted, and look where I am now, which is really good. And he was like, no, Apollo, stay here. Roman said, I want the last man standing match with Adam Pearce. So changed the contract. Heyman went back. Billie Kay kind of joined the Riot Squad. We'll get over that. It was weird, but she's doing her thing. Rey Mysterio versus Corbin, who cares? Ding Dong Hello. Have you heard of this? Bailey has a new segment called Ding Dong Hello. It was terrible. It's like a door. It's a new talk show. We don't want it.
A lot of Bailey
Um,
stuff, I feel like, since her heel turn is like, if with someone else, this could be good. But I don't think she's naturally funny enough to make it work, you know?
no, Bianca Belair, looking dashing as ever. They're having a match next week after that Ding Dong Hello. And Kieran, you need to watch SmackDown for this alone. We had Daniel Bryan backstage, and Cesaro went up to him and challenged him to a match. And they had an absolute barn burner. Daniel Bryan and Cesaro, unbelievable match. Cesaro did a spinning suplex off the top rope. He just looked fantastic, and he pinned Daniel Bryan clean.
I heard that, yeah.
Cesaro pinned Daniel Bryan clean, and I fucking loved it. Cesaro pinning probably the Royal Rumble winner clean. This is where they need to push.
No anymore. I'm kind of thinking, because they took Kevin Owens out of the fucking program for a reason. Because a match everyone was looking forward to and everyone's going to be enjoying. I think Kevin Owens might be Roman Reigns' Mania opponent. And I think this might have given it away. Because I don't think you'd have Daniel Bryan lose if he's going to have the Mania match, you know?
Next up, we had Apollo Crews versus Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn has a camera crew following him around, filming his documentary, Be Cool-esque, about the conspiracy against Sami Zayn. Big E was lying on a couch with his belt watching it. And Apollo Crew, Kieran, they have new 8K cameras on SmackDown. So the entrances are the person and the background is blurred out.
Okay.
It's really cool. It looked really cool for Roman. So Apollo Crews battled Sami Zayn in singles action. Sami Zayn hit the exploder suplex, and Sami Zayn rolled up Apollo and held the tights. The ref called it. Apollo Crews rolled up Sami Zayn and held the tights, and they blurred out like his pants were like a little bit down. They blurred that out just to get it over, and the ref counted 3. Apollo Crews wins. Him and Big E had a thing where like Apollo took the belt and Big E was like, "Don't touch my belt. It's the only time you'll ever touch it." And Sami Zayn was like screaming at the commentary, "You saw me catch the tights, but you didn't pull him up on it." And he's like, "The conspiracy." So really, really good, like interwoven these storylines. So Kieran, we get to the main event, the contract signing being made official. Roman Reigns intimidates Adam Pearce into signing their contract for the last man standing match before taking his place at the head of the table. Reigns signed the contract, apparently pleased with his actions and the way things unfolded. Pearce said, "I've waited for you all night to do that." And he got out of the ring and walked up the ramp and he limped a little bit and he said, "As you know, I'm not medically cleared. You know, old injuries and that, you know about that, Roman. I have a bit of an old knee injury and card is subject to change." And he said, "I won't be able to compete. But I have your opponent." Kevin Owens music hit. Kevin Owens came out, signed the contract. We're getting Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns in a last man fucking standing match at the Royal Rumble for the belts.
I'm such a fucking moron. I genuinely thought it was Adam Pearce.
Oh man, I love this. This is the best consistent thing. Like Kevin Owens is so good, and he just had a shit-eating grin in his face. I think what Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns do, this is going to be their payoff. It's the Rumble. It's going to be the payoff, and then Roman might have a few feuds where like he gets himself over. If I think he's going to win, but there's no way Kevin Owens can look weak here. This has been a brilliant storyline, and the last man standing match, beautiful. Awesome. In a star contract to having Goldberg and McIntyre. I can't wait for that. I'm a big fan of this storyline, and I'm a huge fan of SmackDown, Kieran. And I think you should even watch the YouTube clips because they're really good. Very good.
That sounds brilliant.
And Talking Smack, because Talking Smack is really good. Because Owens went on the mic and was like Owens and Heyman's interactions, and Owens and Apollo Crews' interactions, and Heyman and Big E on Talking Smack. Having Paul Heyman as the host Talking Smack is just perfect. Yeah. And I loved it. So yeah, big thumbs up for that. I don't know how Raw and SmackDown are the same company. I don't really want to. We've already talked about enough about Raw. That gets all the respect it deserves. The Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic kicked off on NXT, Kieran.
Awesome.
Huge tournament. Well, it was quite funny because one of them was on 205. Two of the matches were on 205 Live. The Bollywood Boys versus Drake Maverick and his partner, 305-pound Killian Dane, was on 205 Live, which is quite funny. So they've been doing a few matches over because it's a big tournament, and a few cool things happen here. We open with Shotzi Blackheart versus Candice LeRae, kind of the Gargano way, blah blah blah. We had the Grizzled Young Veterans versus Ever Rise. Zach Gibson cuts an amazing promo, and Grizzled Young Veterans win, as they should. They're a fantastic tag team. Johnny Gargano versus Dexter Lumis. Gargano and Lumis. Gargano rolled up Lumis for the win. They tried to attack Lumis after the match, but Kushida ran down, and Kushida pointed at the North American belt. Now, I hate the Gargano stuff, but Gargano versus Kushida, yeah, I'll take that. Kushida is very good. Next up, we had Jake Atlas versus Isaiah Scott versus the debuting MSK, Kieran. The Rascals. I don't know if you remember the Rascals, the indie tag team, or the Impact tag team. Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel, also known as Nash Carter and Wesley now. Their third member of their faction, Trey Miguel, did not join NXT, but these two lads did, and I suggest you go and watch that on YouTube, Kieran. They had a very impressive debut. They do a move where they do a moonsault, standing moonsault, but one of them pushes the other one. So you do a moonsault and then the other one pushes them mid-air, like mid-backflip. They're really, really good. They beat Swerve and Atlas in a really cool little tag match. Advancing. Xia Li did her whole gimmick again and destroyed someone while that like menacing character was watching on stage. Have you seen this? This like woman in like a mask was like watching on stage. Xia Li kicked the shit out of this person and then like hung her up on the rope and kicked her in the head. So that happened. Undisputed Era, who earlier on in the night, Pete Dunne, Kieran. Finn Balor cut a promo at the start of the show, being like saying, I put this X on my chest because I know I'm the target, and I know I'm going to, I know people are going to come after me. Pete Dunne came out and said, I'm waiting for this. It's going to be me and you soon. There's a takeover on Valentine's Day, by the way.
Yeah.
And so it looks like we're going to be heading towards Pete Dunne and Finn Balor. But then Undisputed Era came out. Kyle O'Reilly was selling the job really well, like really, really badly. But they came out and Finn Balor kind of gave them a nod of approval. So that's cool. But then we had Undisputed Era versus Breezango. So it all broke down when like Breezango are a very good tag team, and Cole and Strong are two fantastic wrestlers. Pete Dunne, Oney Lorcan, and Danny Burch attacked Kyle O'Reilly at ringside until Finn Balor came out and made the save, as he always does in his all of his glory, Kieran, as you would imagine. And then Pat McAfee's friends took Finn Balor out, but then Cole hit a super kick to Fandango in the midair for the win, and the Undisputed Era advance. That was NXT, Kieran. If they're doing a Dusty Classic, building to, I don't think it'll end. Maybe how long do we have? I don't know. I don't think it's going to run through the Valentine's Day takeover, but yeah, they seem to be. They're doing okay. They're doing some good stuff. What's her name? Scarlett Bordeaux had another menacing message saying that Karrion Kross is going to win the belt. And then finally in the wrestling world, Kieran, we had AEW New Year's Smash. Yeah, Night 2, which is headlined by a TNT title match between Darby Allin and Brian Cage. But we had the opener was Pac versus Eddie Kingston. And Pac and Eddie Kingston had a fantastic match. There was a really cool.
Those would be great promos against each other.
What?
Great promos against each other, I imagine.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. Basically, there was a really cool old school reversal here where like Eddie Kingston had Pac in a position for a DDT, but Pac just like held the rope, so Eddie fell back without like Pac going down with him. That was cool. So Kingston was selling really well, but Pac hit the Black Arrow and put him away, and he put in the Brutalizer straight away after the bell rang. But then the Butcher and the Blade made the save. Lance Archer came out and chased off the Butcher, the Blade, and Eddie Kingston. And Lance Archer just looked at Pac and was like either he was basically like, hold on, like I want Eddie as well, like calm down, like because he was like getting in his face. He was like, I think it might build into a triple threat, but it's really the AEW have all their jigsaw pieces as we've discussed in a really good place. Hangman. It was announced that Hangman is teaming with the Dark Order next week, and after the match, he's going to announce that if he's in the Inner Circle or not. Sorry, not the Inner Circle, the Dark Order or not. And we might see -1 Brody Lee's son induct Hangman as the new leader of the Dark Order, which would be really, really cool. That's like a rumor going around that like if Hangman leads the Dark Order and wins the belt when he does, because there's like Anna Jay was talking, there's Dark Order are the biggest baby faces in wrestling or in AEW right now. Like after, unfortunately, like what's gone on, but they are red hot right now, and like having Hangman as the leader, yeah, please. Chuck Taylor fought Miro. Poor Trent Brett is gonna be out for a while. He tore his pec.
How's Miro doing, actually? Now that you mention him,
What?
How's Miro doing? Does he have any success over there? Or is he just kind of fallen by the wayside?
I'll tell you now, he's doing okay. He's kind of like with Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, the best man thing. He's got some really good. He's had a few solid matches. They're having their wedding on Beach Break. Beach Break is the February 3rd show. And basically the storyline here is if Chuck Taylor loses to Miro here, Chuck Taylor has to become Miro's young boy. So that's like the Japanese kind of thing. Because I think Miro was Trent Beretta's young boy back in NXT or something. Like he helped him. Yeah. So that's a little story. Miro's butler basically, and the Accolade finished Chuck Taylor off, and Cassidy looked really concerned. Like Chuck Taylor was getting dragged away by Miro as his new butler, and Cassidy was looking genuinely concerned. I think this is up until Beach Break on February 3rd. I think they're gonna like force Chuck Taylor to fight Orange Cassidy or something. So yeah, no, a little cool undercard story, which you always like because you can't really have everything being a main event. But this was a fantastic segment, Kieran. The Inner Circle had their New Year's resolutions. Fantastic segment, Chris. This is where Chris shines best. Commentary really annoying, getting annoying. In ring terrible, but when he puts on a show, he puts on a show. Each member of the faction ran down their wishes for the new year. And MJF said, I'm going to strengthen my bonds with their teammates. Hager simply screamed, championships. And Jericho said, I want me and MJF to win the AEW Tag Team Championships. And the best line of the night and probably the year, Sammy Guevara, because he used to tag with Jericho in the Sex Gods. Sammy Guevara took the mic and was like, I see what's going on here. And he turned to Jericho and just goes, you're a tag team slut. He goes, it was brilliant. It was such a good line. Santana and Ortiz, obviously being the really good tag team, took exception to Jericho as well. And Sammy was basically like, you jump from partner to partner. We were the Sex Gods, and now you're getting chummy with Snoop Dogg. And Sammy was like, you got chummy with Snoop Dogg at the table last week. Are you going to tag with him? And Jericho just goes, maybe. And it got quite tense. And then Jericho said, next week, Kieran, triple threat tag match to decide the official tag team of the Inner Circle. It's Sammy and Hager versus Jericho and MJF versus Santana and Ortiz, and the winner becomes the official tag team. And another thing was, they called him Sammy Hager, who was like a lead singer of a band. I don't know what band it is. And Jericho and all were laughing, and Sammy Guevara didn't get what it meant. So yeah, they came to a truce, and the match is official. Santana and Ortiz should win this, Kieran. They're very, very good tag team, and neither of these two makeshift teams should win. It's building to the split in the Inner Circle. I'm still unsure of what two members there are. I think one of them is going to be Jericho, but Santana and Ortiz have to win this match because they are the best tag team, one of the best tag teams in AEW, and they are an actual tag team.
Surely, if it's building towards a split, it would make sense if they didn't win.
But they're staying in. I think because MJF went back to the locker room after Hager lost, and Hager was like, you're the only one who was here with me. Which is leading me to believe that Jericho's leaving. I think Santana and Ortiz shouldn't be there. The only reason they're there is because Gallows and Anderson didn't debut. There's a voice break on cue. But yeah, I don't know how it's going, but like they're putting the pieces together quite well. Sammy would be a good babyface. I don't think Santana and Ortiz are going to leave. They need to be in tag team title picture. Fantastic tag team. It was fantastic. Everyone gets their limelight. I just did a beautiful segue there. Speaking of limelight, Danny Limelight team with Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman versus the Elite. This was really cool, Kieran. Danny Limelight, I watched an interview at Ringside. Shout out Hooch and Jamie. The night after he debuted on Dynamite, basically the Elite was meant to be Kenny and the Bucks getting back together, Kieran. And Don Callis encouraged the trio to do separate entrances. And the Bucks were like, okay, fine. Kenny came out, and it was all a ruse because Callis just had Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson waiting in the wings. So the Young Bucks were left with egg on their face. They didn't come out. They showed the camera backstage. The Young Bucks being like, what the hell? Like, what just happened? Like, we were meant to tag with them. So it's Gallows and Anderson. So there's already seeds of dissent. So the Young Bucks got duped. And they fought against the Varsity Blondes of Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman, and Danny Limelight. And Danny Limelight was fantastic. Really good new wrestler. They just had a really, really good 6-man. And Magic Killer, Limelight loses the match for the team. The bell rang, and Moxley's entrance hit. And Moxley came out, and he went straight for Omega. He was getting beaten down. Lucha Bros came out, fighting off Gallows and Anderson. Moxley, I don't know why the Lucha Bros came out, but, you know. Moxley just beat the crap out of Omega, and the locker room tried to separate them. The Young Bucks came out and stopped Moxley from basically were like holding Moxley back. The Lucha Bros came in behind them and super kicked the Young Bucks. So the Lucha Bros I'm trying to get my charger. Lucha Bros super kicked the Young Bucks. I think this might be leading to like a triple threat tag match at Revolution between the Bucks, Gallows and Anderson, and the Lucha Bros. But it's interesting to see where it goes. But Kieran, Moxley without the belt with a fire in his belly, that's something to look forward to for 2021. And that wasn't it, because we had Jurassic Express versus FTR. Kieran, Jurassic Express coming out to Tarzan Boy. That's the best Christmas present ever. FTR beat Jurassic Express, as you'd imagine, because Marco Stunt wanted to get in the match. And Kieran, if there's one thing
blowing up, Rian. What's happened to you?
I know, it's all my hose. But yeah, Kieran, if there's one match that I would want to advise you to go and watch this week, it is the NWA Women's Title match from night 2, Serena Deeb versus Ty Conti. Wait till you see how much Ty Conti has improved. This match was fantastic. A really good. She came out with the Dark Order because she's Anna Jay's tag partner, and really, really good technical match. She lost with the Detox. Deeb won with the Detox, but this was a fantastic match. I encourage you to go out of your way and watch it. It was a really, really cool technical match. And then we got the main event, and Kieran, Darby Allin versus Brian Cage for the TNT title. Darby Allin got thrown around, and he was split open from the start.
Badly, or just like a nick?
No, it was good. It was cool. It was okay. It wasn't like really bad, but so basically last year Darby Allin lost to Cody Rhodes with a crucifix. You know, he tried the crucifix bomb and failed. The reason Taz hates him is because Taz tried to talk to him in an interview backstage, and Darby turned him down, and that's why Taz had the grudge ever since, and that's why he's used Team Taz to make Darby's life hell. So remember that. And he suplexed Darby on the arena floor, gorilla pressed him in the ring, power bombed him through a table from the ring to the announce table. The referee was checking on him. He threw Darby Allin on the stage. Power bombed him onto the entrance ramp. After Darby Allin put the middle finger up when they asked him if he was okay. Darby Allin put the middle finger up again. Deadlift suplex from the ramp into the ring. Kicked out at 1. Cage took out the ring steps. Kieran, this was vile. I put this up in my story. I don't know if you saw it, but Cage took out the ring steps, and Darby Allin fought back. He bit Cage's fingers, and Cage fell onto the ring steps. And from the top rope, Darby hit a coffin drop onto the steel steps. to a cage. Open-handed slaps. And then Darby had a code red, but then Darby Allin set up for the coffin drop for the win, but Ricky Starks hopped the apron and distracted him. The lights went down, Kieran, and Sting appeared, and everyone was like, "Is he?" Smacks Ricky Starks in the leg with a baseball bat, smacks him in the gut with the baseball bat, and Darby Allin hits that same crucifix bomb that got Taz all angry to pin Brian Cage and get the win.
Damn.
Fantastic main event. God, I love this because it wasn't like it's a TNT belt, but they built it perfectly, and Darby Allin and Brian Cage went out there and had a fantastic match, and I loved it. Wrestling was good this week. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to what AEW have to offer in the next few weeks. Beach Break is going to be cool. I'd say that even be one that you might have an eye on because gimmick weekly shows. But Beach Break sounds like interesting. Like, what would they do with the set?
I like shows. They're just fun. They're just a little different.
Yeah. I love to see it. We're at a lovely 50 minutes. But yeah, was there anything else from the week of wrestling at all, or just weekend?
A short week, but a busy week.
Yeah, that Impact Hard to Kill match was decent. But yeah, anything we could do just a little bit of a chat of like anything you've been watching or anything you've been listening to, because I've got one that might take a while to explain. But have you
seen the new Marvel show WandaVision?
I've heard reports of it being very good. I heard they release it like 2 episodes at a time. I'm not a fan, but like there will be people listening to this who are like Marvel fans, as Kieran is, and I've heard it's really good.
I fucking adore this thing. I am absolutely in love with it because the whole gimmick of the first episode in particular, it's just an episode of a 50s sitcom. There's like 10, maybe 30 seconds where it's like, oh, maybe something's wrong here, but everything else is just a straight up 22-minute episode of a 50s sitcom. They've totally committed to that idea, and I fucking adore it.
Explain it to me like I'm 5, because in this case, I'm pretty much 5 years old. Explain the concept of it.
There are these 2 characters, Wanda and Vision. Wanda has like these, like she can make things float and she can control people's minds, general powers or whatever. And Vision is this robot who can like phase through walls and shit like that. A couple films ago, Vision died. He's now dead. And now in this show, Wanda and Vision are both alive. They were in love, by the way. They're a couple. They're both alive somehow. We don't know how, and they're living in this 50s universe, and they don't seem to realize anything is wrong. And that's just it. It's a mystery. We don't know how they're there. We don't know how Vision's there. We don't know what's going on, who's controlling it, and why. But it's really, really interesting, and it's a really slow build, but hopefully it's going to pay off in like 2 months' time when it finishes.
I like it. Well, yeah. I like the sound of it. Anything else?
I did watch something else. What did I watch? Shoot. I watched Seven Samurai. That was pretty cool. I've been meaning to watch that for ages. It's like 3.5 hours long, so I kept putting it off. It's like a classic samurai film from the 60s.
Oh, nice. Early 60s. Nice. These are niche. I like it.
Oh, people adore that movie, man. But yeah, well, I guess I'm a film fan. I've been watching The Crown as well. The Crown is really good. I've been all over the place this week. I finished my Game of Thrones rewatch, and I fucking adore that show.
Who was it?
So much.
Which member of the royal family is meant to be like really fit in The Crown? Was that Maggie Thatcher? Or she wasn't a member of the royal family, but there was like a character in it. Like apparently Maggie Thatcher was like, or one of the members of the royal family, either that or Maggie Thatcher was like
Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, there was someone who played like someone who like people didn't like who looked really good.
Oh, I don't know. It's a pretty good looking show in general.
Mm-hmm.
Most TVs.
I mean, the Royals always look good.
Yeah.
Fairness. Speaking of the Royals, they have their podcast on Spotify. They're like the 4th ever official podcast sign on Spotify. They set up like. Sorry, go ahead.
I want to listen to that because that sounds interesting. I'd like to get an insight, you know.
Yeah, I'd love if they went like it's Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, because not Prince Andrew. Jesus, they won't put a mic in front of his face. But no, like I'd love if they just went like full like because they're not on the rough anymore. I'd love if they would just went like full cringe where it was like episode 2, can gingers be sexy, or like And then like episode 9, just drop a bombshell. It's like Princess Diana, and everyone would listen to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, my one is a podcast one. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts with. I don't know if you know this guy, Kieran. I listened to a podcast on. He was on Jack Mate's Happy Hour. Shock. But then I went back and listened to his episodes with the True Geordie, and I've like watched all his documentaries and looked at his books. Sean Atwood. Have you heard of Sean Atwood?
I've heard the name. I don't know anything about him though.
So basically, this guy is basically, the Wolf of Wall Street. This guy is basically like the real life Wolf of Wall Street. Like, so basically, he's a guy from England. I have his Wikipedia just to explain it. Atwood became interested. He was born in Widnes. Became interested in the stock market at 14. Traded for the first time at the age of 16. He was visiting his aunt in Arizona a lot. He moved there, and like this is when the rave. You remember? I don't know if you know, but like the rave scene where like they just like clubbing, and then you had the rave scene. He was very big into that, and he started distributing ecstasy, and he smuggled up to £4 million worth of ecstasy. And he was basically like one of the biggest like crime gangs in like America. He was like the man. He had one of his best mates who died like recently. Like really hit him hard. Wildman. You probably heard the name Wildman bat around, but like he was like this mental guy. One of his mates. Like he was in America, and like he had like 3 wives, and he 3 wives on 3 different occasions. He was the biggest distributor of ecstasy. He was in prison. He was in like the highest security prison, where he was in there with a guy. He told a story. He was in there with a guy who took so much LSD that he was driving in a car with his 2 kids, and he took so much LSD that he thought one of his kids turned into a monster and chopped their head off. Like the stories. I'm still listening to one. The story.
Amount of LSD, you might say.
Yeah, the stories I'm hearing like are like this guy like was like maximum security prison, and he's now an activist for like cleaning up prisons, like telling America to like get their grip, because I don't know, but a lot of people who listen to this might know, but like America's prisons are like bad. Like he's talking about them like they're really really bad. Like English prisons are like run quite decently, like from what I can read up on. But like America, like it's just full of disgusting stuff. Like you can have like just people walking, or like dead bodies being like in cells, and people like killing, like basically like within an inch of people's lives just in the shower.
Yeah.
And obviously the culture, what, I'm not going to explain what the culture in a prison is, but you kind of get the point. But like Sean Atwood, like the stories, like I'd honestly encourage, like it's sometimes tough to listen to, but his story is so fascinating, because like the Wolf of Wall Street is something you're like, this could never be real, even though Jordan Belfort wasn't real. But like listen to this and you're like, oh shit, this is actually real. Like this guy like was like in with all the crime gangs. There was the Italian mafia was involved, and they'd have these wild parties, and like it's just fascinating. Like some of the stuff is just like, I've never been really into it, but like the way he just tells it, like there's just so many stories that I probably like I don't want to like get into in the podcast because I'll be going on too long. But like just go onto the True Geordie and you'll find like he did 3 episodes of the True Geordie. He did a 2-parter. That's how big his story is. He did 2 parts of Jackmate, so 3.5 hours, and he did 3 2-hour episodes of the True Geordie, and I learned something new every time.
Like, that's really interesting. I might check them out. What's his name?
Yeah, Sean Atwood. So if you go into the True Geordie, it'll be like the real life Wolf of Wall Street or something like. And the Jackmate one is the most recent one. His best mate Wildman, who apparently was like, he said Wildman was crazier than him. Like Wildman's ex-wife was into, her kink was tasering. That's some of the wild shit that I've been listening that's been like said. Like there's some mad stuff in there. So I encourage people to go and look up Sean Atwood and have a look at it, because it's fascinating. They do the video podcast as well, so if you're into the video podcast, then yeah. But that's my top recommendation for this week. Other than that, listen to us. Listen to everybody on Project Dits. They're doing a fantastic job. The Ringsiders boys, they boost us every day. They give us a big serotonin boost every time on Twitter. Big love to those boys. Last Minute Wrestling with Frank Mandolini. I've got a few interviews lined up, Kieran. I'm going to announce it here. This is going out tonight. I'm interviewing Club Rock Shandy on Friday.
Oh, awesome!
Lovely
Great.
Irish tag team. Klong and Martin are coming on. I'm going to be we've so many episodes of Takeover Throwbacks lined up. We just need to get dates in and get them recorded. I'm going to be talking to Colin from Synergy Wrestling. Big fan of that promotion and his love for English sitcoms and game shows. So that should be a great episode. I'm going to be talking to Jay Christ, formerly Impact X Division champion and tag team champion, who's now a free agent and looking to put his career on the right path. I'm going to be talking to him soon. Big year for us. So I'm looking forward to it. Everyone on Project Dits. Dits is streaming every night. He's doing a great job. The Alleged Boys, we love them dearly. Get in their Discord. It's hilarious. Ringsiders, Last Minute Wrestling. I'm going to be talking to Jessie soon as well, who was introduced to me through the Ringsiders Boys. She's fantastic. So many people, so many good people. For all the bad in the world, there's been a lot of people who have made these lockdowns a lot easier on me and Kieran with the support for the podcast. And I bought the Brody Lee shirt from your listens. All of your listens meant that every listen would be like €1 towards Brody Lee's family. So I bought the Brody Lee shirt, which including shipping was $46 towards Brody Lee's family. Every little helps, but like it's a really cool shirt, really cool tribute shirt, and that's on its way to me, and the money is on its way to Brody Lee's family. So I'm pretty sure CM Punk and Mick Foley are still doing those. So support that family. They brought him to Disneyland. See that, Ken?
Really, that's awesome.
They brought him to Disneyland because it's his birthday today. They brought him to Disneyland. Cody and 10 and stuff. Cody has a new dog, and like it's adorable. He has Pharaoh, but he has like a little small Pomeranian dog now. And it's adorable, and we love dog content. So check. His name is Yeti Pinkerton, which I'm assuming is a Star Wars reference, or something. It's something to do with comics because it's always with Cody. But I'm rambling on. But Kieran, just over the hour mark. I love that. This has been really, really fun. Unless you got anything else to say, I think it's time to take it home. We're going to be doing our Mania. Fancy booking maybe soon, and I can't wait to talk about the Rumble. So see you next week and take it home, Kieran.
All right, well, I've been Kieran Brennan. With me is always my co-host.
The man that you now forgot, Rian.
And as we say at the end of every episode of the podcast, thanks for listening. Cheers. Good on you.
Fair play. Keep the head up. Keep the head up and smile. Plenty of content coming soon. We love you all. We love you, bitches.